this is what's going to happen. It's going to be a legal market for Wendy's, like where you just have to meet some guy in the back parking lot, which is like, listen, this is legit.
Baconators.
It's unmarked. I will take 4. You know,
4 Baconators, please.
Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice. But here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Bobby Davis, Paul Bratzlavsky, and Sarah Kimmel.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast, the tech podcast where we talk about everything from AI to VR and robots to flying cars. I'm Kevin Doyle, and this week I am joined by Bobby Davis, Paul Bratzlavsky, and Sarah Kimmel. Coming up in this week's episode, the Apple Car is cancelled. Wordpress and Tumblr have joined Reddit now in selling their data to train an LLM. And some new hardware. Lenovo is looking at a transparent laptop. And then we'll wrap up with our not null recommendation section, where we recommend that you avoid a product or service. Rumors have swirled for the past decade. Like, legends have been told about a new electric car. And this is an electric car full of tech from one of the biggest companies in the world. That would be Apple and their Apple electric car, which never was given a name, an official name anyway, but the promise of that car now looks to be dead. So Apple's internal project name, Project Titan, which gives you an idea of what they thought about how big this was. Their internal name definitely screams, this is world-changing, is never going to see the light of day, as of yesterday. This is a project that's been in the works since 2014. So 2014 to 2024. The target release date of this car was originally going to be 2028. So they put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I guarantee you a massive amount of money that we'll never ever hear about. But I'm guessing billions in research into this. We've heard all kinds of rumors across the past decade with, recently it's just as last year, talking about manufacturing partners. There was BMW was mentioned. I think Hyundai was mentioned. We've heard a bunch of like partners in this thing to help them build out this car. They never happened. We never heard any more about it. They were just that, rumors. So apparently it's not that they couldn't build a car. It turns out that there's just not the right amount of profit in building a car for Apple. They have such high margins, and we know they do on their stuff, that they just couldn't get the price point with the price that they're going to make it for the price they can sell it for. So they're just not going to build it. This is going to affect the people, the staff, obviously, that work on this project. So this is about 2,000 people. Some are going to move to AI projects, which I'm all about because we need some Apple AI this year, hopefully. And others are going to be laid off. I'm guessing people who are in kind of hardware in the car that maybe don't have anything else related to Apple are probably going to get laid off. I guess here we don't know how many that's going to be or where those are coming from. Did I want an Apple car? Yes. Would I have spent $100,000 on an Apple car? Probably not, because I bet you that's like the price point that it would have come in. That's the rumored kind of price point. They were going for high end, not, they were going for like a Tesla Roadster, not Tesla, Model 3, right? They weren't going for the $40,000 car. They were going for the 6-figure car. So would I bought one? Probably not. It's kind of out of my price point, I think, for a car. But Paul, what do you think about this? You think Apple dropping this project like affects them in any way as a larger company?
I don't think so. To be honest, I thought it was a dumb idea to begin with. I mean, the concept of having an Apple car and just being, what the hell would it be? That was like the only exciting part. It's like, what would it do? Like, what would it be? But, would I have one? No. Would I spend $100,000 on it? No. And I think it's like, I just never took them seriously. I thought it was like a marketing thing. And the fact that they worked on it for 10 years and then they're going to cancel it, it's just like, it's like them building to be honest, if they build a refrigerator, they would like much more in line. You know what I mean? It's like smart refrigerator. Like, but moving to a car market, it's like such a niche thing. Like outside of the kind of like what the hell is it going to be factor, and people wondering like the mystery behind the car. Like, I don't think it's like, it's silly. I don't think they should have even considered building a car, because this is the money they could have spent on AI and AR. Like more, and build more cooler things that consumers would have used. Because even if they did build the car, like just the fact, the price range, and the fact it's still going to be such a minority of people that are going to buy it. if anybody gonna buy it, that makes no sense. You know,
I think
my
at their
thought on that.
$100,000 price tag, I mean, you're competing with Mercedes, Porsche, you know, all of those other brands that have way better track record than does the Apple car. Is it going to work well?
Right.
And it's also, I think Elon said this, it's easy to make a car. It's hard to make them at scale.
Mm.
And I think that's the
Interesting.
manufacturing was one of the, he thinks the toughest engineering problem they had was just trying to make a lot of them at once. He's seen that with the Cybertruck, and he's, you know, for the longest time, it was hard to even get those things off the line. And we're Ford and all this other brands that are just doing it for years.
I think that's why we heard the rumors about partners, is my guess.
Yeah.
The partnership was the part where they're going to do the manufacturing.
Right.
Apple was going to bring the technology and the ideas, and they were going to try and partner with somebody to actually do the manufacturing part. Because yes, that is clearly the problem. That's the problem that Tesla has. I mean, even today, the Cybertruck was delayed by so long because of manufacturing issues, and it's still not perfect today. There were stories just this last week of them rusting. So it's like they've still not made the perfect car, right?
Is it really rust? I hadn't seen. I saw that.
Apparently,
But it's stainless steel. It's not supposed to.
Well, it's not, but there's no coating on it apparently. So
okay.
it's, I don't know. I guess it can rust. I don't know.
I mean, to me, it was just like just never made sense, because it's on the same vein saying like Lenovo could make a car, or like
Right.
any other laptop manufacturer / phone. It's like, what are you doing? You're like spreading yourself too thin.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
If we still
maybe.
don't have Apple AI on our phones yet to the level that we
Right.
should have, if they only redirected their money, you know.
Well,
So-
now they are. They're taking all the money from the Titan project and pouring it into AI instead.
Yeah, which was what they should have been doing anyway, I think. So,
Right.
so do you think does this have any effect on a bigger EV market? Do you think the news that Apple now is no longer making a car, is that because of EV news, or does it have an effect on EVs? What do you think?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think the people that are making EVs are going to continue to make them. Obviously, Ford's scaling theirs back. They're not taking off in the U.S. at the scale that Ford needs it to do. They're scaling back their cars. The biggest thing I think for Apple, and just reading this article that we read, a lot of articles said they just couldn't get the autonomous driving to work at the level they wanted.
Yeah.
And I think Apple being Apple said, well, if it can't drive itself, what are we doing? Everyone's
Right.
got an electric car. Like, that's not
Yeah.
what we're here to do. And they just figured that, okay, this might take us another $10 billion or $20 billion. What are we? And I imagine they get pressure from investors and like, what are you guys doing, man? Like, how much money are you going to spend on this? Just
True.
like even Zuckerberg had to scale back his VR plans, you know, like
Yeah.
metaverse, like, okay, can we? And he did. He fired some people and scaled back. And
Yep.
I think they're
I'm
just
also
gonna get back to what they
imagining,
do.
though, that they did get something out of this. I'm imagining
100%.
that there's definitely some R&D like tech in here that we're going to see in other places that isn't necessarily the car. My guess is CarPlay probably came out of this project.
Yeah.
Even though it's
Yeah.
been, that's been in the last decade. My guess is that came out of this as a stopgap, a section within there that came out of this. There's probably other tech too that we've seen in maybe other devices even that came out of this division that like, oh, we're going to put that in the car, but we can also put it here. So I don't think it's a total loss, but I'm guessing the majority of it is a loss. And I would say, although we're never going to find out, I'm sure, it has to be billions of dollars. We know R&D is so expensive when you're doing this cutting edge stuff with
Right.
2,000 people, bearing in mind.
Right.
For a decade.
To be honest, they should have not went as epic as a Apple Titan car. They should have started like one wheel or like a little
Right.
bicycle.
A bike,
I would to be honest,
a
like
scooter.
Apple like scooter, I would get
Maybe.
one for sure.
A Peloton,
Maybe.
an Apple
You
Peloton.
might not be wrong.
Yeah, the Peloton, right. Yeah, that's like, I could definitely, I mean, not that I would buy it because I love my Nordic track, but I could totally see an Apple like treadmill or exercise bike or something like that. Like, I think that makes way more sense than like a full on car.
Yeah, maybe that's something we see. I got to say, like the EV market in the US in general is kind of interesting. So I owned an EV for, 2 years? I think I had it for, it might have even been 18 months or so. And I got rid of it. And the reason I got rid of it is, so I owned a Volkswagen ID4. And so the reason I got rid of it was because both my wife and I work from home and we had two cars sitting in the garage that weren't moving anywhere. So I was like, we need to sell one. It's stupid having two cars sat in the garage. It's just such a waste. Like, why are we doing this? So I was like, we need to sell one. And we have a gas car and an electric car. And we had to make a choice. Can we go all electric? And I felt like at this point in time, you just can't really go all electric. It's just the infrastructure isn't there. The road trip like ability just isn't there as it is with a gas car. So we made the decision to get rid of the electric. Now I'm thinking about a new one at this point, and I would go plug-in hybrid. I think that's the sweet spot in the middle, like because you get the run around town. You don't have to keep filling up with gas. It'll do like 30, 40 miles on the battery. But if you're going on a road trip, you also get the comfort that you can just stop at a gas station and fill it up. I don't think US is ready for all electric.
I want a hybrid for my next car. Like if Jeep Grand Cherokee makes a hybrid, like I'm all about it. Nice. See,
they do.
That's my next car.
One. Yep, they definitely.
That's my next car. I love my Jeeps. But you were saying, oh man, dang it, I just lost it. But with the electric, did you see all of the news, like when it was super cold this winter and a lot of those electric cars couldn't charge and people were stuck places because it was too cold for the electric cars to charge? Like that alone, like I'm out for electric cars. I'm not getting stuck anywhere.
Yeah, if you're anywhere in the Midwest, it's a problem. Northeast, it's a problem. You know, down here in the South in North Carolina, probably not as much. I mean, we'll have a cold snap, but I would imagine very rarely is it below 20.
Yeah, but if you're in Chicago, it's a problem.
It's a problem. The other thing too that I laughed at, we were at a gas station the other day, and it was just pouring the rain down, and where they have Tesla chargers, and none of them are covered. And I was at this thing called a Sheetz, and I was like, pumping my dirty gas into my car while it's not raining, and this poor schlubs out there with this Tesla in the pouring rain trying to charge the electric car.
That is kind of weird, isn't it? Why aren't they covered? You're right. None of them are covered.
No idea.
That is a strange thing. Maybe that's something that will come along with time.
It could kill you, but
Oh, I don't think that.
I know it won't, but
But you're right. Water and electricity, generally don't mix, do they?
Yeah.
So WordPress and Tumblr have decided to join Reddit. Remember we talked about Reddit last week, selling all of the data that they have, that we've provided to them, that they own, and they're selling for $60 million. Well, WordPress and Tumblr have now joined this group of companies. So they're both owned by a company called Automatic. They are basically set to sell all of their users' data to OpenAI and Midjourney. So the company's been named this time, both companies. I'm guessing Tumblr's going to Midjourney because it's more image-based, and that the WordPress is going to be used more for the articles that people have written, and that's going to go to OpenAI, I would guess. It's going to be used to train AI models. Here's the issue, though, and the reason that we're talking about the story is because in their first batch of data that they provided, they weren't so good about scrubbing it. They provided basically everything, apparently, including private posts, deleted and suspended posts, unanswered questions, private answers, posts marked explicit, and content from premium partner blogs, like apparently an Apple blog that they weren't supposed to include, and they don't apparently have the rights to distribute back to OpenAI and Midjourney. Their statement says, this is their official quote, "We will share only public content that's hosted on WordPress.com and Tumblr from sites that haven't opted out." So that tells us there is going to be an ability, if you have a WordPress blog or a Tumblr site, to opt out of this. And they're saying that you can either start this from the get-go, you can opt out right now, or at any point in the future, you can retroactively opt out, and they will remove that information from the training model.
How does it unlearn something?
Here's the thing. Here's the way
forget it.
100% agree, and here's the way they worded it. They said that they will ask, in quotes, and in quotes, advocate for their removal. And the company's AI boss believes, in quotes again, that the AI companies will find it in their best interest to comply. They're basically saying, we're not going to tell them, like, if you opt out on our end, we're going to tell them, like, hey, you should, like, remove that data. And they're going to say, sure. It's never going to happen. This is absolute just the gift. BS. Sure, Jan. Yeah, exactly. This is absolute BS. There's no way they're going to retrain a model after you opt out. Imagine that on a case-by-case basis. It's ridiculous.
Nightmare.
So Bobby, any concerns over your Tumblr account being used to train Midjourney, or your secret Marvel WordPress blog being used to train ChatGPT?
Yep. here's the thing that I read about. First off, when I looked at Tumblr, and I'm not on Tumblr. I didn't know what Tumblr was really until this morning.
Come on, we know you have that secret Marvel Tumblr. Like, it's fine. You can admit it here.
And then I asked Kevin, what is Tumblr for? And he goes, it's just for memes. And I'm like, oh, so now Midjourney is just going to make a meme generator. I guess that's where this AI is going to go.
Just a meme generator.
Take over the world, meme generator. Which is more likely? Meme generator. I think so.
There's no in between.
Yeah. But the thing that struck me odd was WordPress. Like, so WordPress, you can build websites, you can build blogs or whatever. And apparently if I build a WordPress site, I would say, even though if I'm hosting it there, I feel like I own that data. That's my website.
That's not included in this. WordPress.com is the WordPress hosted sites. If you're self-hosted, that's technically WordPress.org.
Yeah.
So it would not be included if you're self-hosted.
Which is funny because it's publicly available, so that's already been scraped. So don't worry.
Exactly.
Which is true too.
This is to me. This is basically like, how can we get bunch of money by doing nothing? It's like low hanging fruit for them. They're like, oh,
we're doing it anyway,
because they already know. Yeah. OpenAI already scraped the data, so that's probably like way to avoid like going to the lawsuit and litigation. They're like, listen, we're gonna sell our data. They're gonna give us some money. So it's like. It's basically, like do the thing and then apologize later. And so OpenAI, like they scraped everything and they're like, no, that they could sue us, but it's going to be a lot of like headaches. Nobody wants to do that. So they'll retrospectively be like, or they'll just be like, hey, let's just make an agreement that you could use our data and you just pay us money. And they make these settlements. And so now everything's okay. Like, who cares that they took all that data publicly, because we now allow them to have that data and make money. And it's crazy. And so I feel bad for all the people because like, I'm sure like opt out is going to be like a button on page 20. In, like, a small
notice it is an opt out, not an opt in, by the way, which tells you by default, if you create a blog on WordPress.com, it's going to be 7 menus deep that's opt out of like sending your data. And it's going to be obfuscated in a way that's like, it's not going to say, do you want to opt out of sending your data to OpenAI? No, it's going to say some legal jargon that most people aren't going to understand. And they're just not going to know, and they're never going to click it, and you're automatically opted in. I think it's wrong.
I think it really hurts the ransomware people, because now they're saying, "Hey, we're going to steal your data," and you're like, "Bro, it's already gone."
True.
Dude,
I've already sold it to OpenAI.
OpenAI, I took it a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the
There's
fact
nothing
that
left to steal.
it's like it's content created by the people that use those platforms, but the people that own those platforms benefit from it.
Yeah, to Bobby's point though, doesn't this one feel a little bit different than the Reddit one? So the Reddit one, you kind of create a post there, right? It's generally the content there, while sometimes is detailed and whatever, it feels like it's more ad hoc, right? WordPress is a if you have a WordPress.com blog, right, it is a collection of your thoughts or posts or whatever you're doing. So if you have a Taylor Swift blog on WordPress, you're basically just giving all that information away. You're giving it all away to them to now resell on. It just feels different than the Reddit one.
Yeah, I think if you make a website and you go through the efforts of making the website, you own the intellectual property of that website. And apparently I'm wrong about that. So if you went to another host like Netlify or Railway or something like that, and you push your stuff up there, can they just sell the data off? I mean, like, and then some of it was marked private, which means it's behind a paywall maybe, or it's in a database or whatever. They just took it and sold it. And I just don't think that's right. Social media, I understand. You're joining the collective of a whole conversation. Right. But, if I made a Blazor blog and it had like, I got 1 million views on a blog about authentication or whatever, I would want that to be my information that I made, regardless of where I hosted it at. I think you're paying to have it hosted, not giving them the right to the data. It's
the same argument that the publications have, right? That the New York Times has against them. It's just because I'm an individual, it shouldn't make any difference. The New York Times is also saying they scraped all our information and like reused it. Well, it's the same thing for me. I'm just Joe here, and I'm like, you're scraping all my information, and everybody. It's as a collective. But without it, it's absolutely nothing. Without the training data, they have nothing.
Right. And I don't think we should allow these companies to get away with it. They should have to pay for it.
And the only way I would think, like, and again, I don't think that should be, but in any way, like the only way they should work is whenever I do something in ChatGPT it should have a reference to original material that it was based on, like 100%. That's like the bare
I
minimum.
agree.
The bare
Yeah.
minimum.
Yep.
And I think at some point, like, they should be like some sort of payout to the folks that created the content.
That's never going to happen.
Never
going
gonna
to This is
happen.
never going
I
to
know.
trickle down.
I know.
The only people
I'm just
making money
saying.
here are automatic
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And Reddit.
and Reddit.
Yeah.
which is ridiculous.
But yeah, they do violate intellectual property and content and all that kind of stuff. I wonder if you had paywalls on these, if you still get paid. I mean, they're scraping Medium. I guess they have probably.
I would assume
Probably.
they have. Yeah.
I
like-
assume, I think like maybe I think it was Bobby. Yeah, the data's already gone. Like
Yeah.
they have scraped everything on the internet already, and now they're like retroactively paying for it.
I just wonder if, like, you know, Taylor Swift blog owner is ever going to be in a position to say, I can sue OpenAI because they stole my property. I just don't know if that's ever going to come, because the bigger media outlets have done it, right? So
Right.
can an average person do it, or do we see some kind of weird class action or something from this?
I've said this
Here's
from the beginning. This is going to be the tobacco suits all over again. This is going to be, as soon as they feel like there's money and blood in the water, 40 lawyers will get together
Oh
to
yeah.
make $100 million.
And then the only
or
people
$2
that make
billion.
money are the
The
lawyers.
Yeah. So I was going to say, here's an interesting thought. It's like as if it's blog post hosted on WordPress, and any author, they could share whatever they want, and they could be writing blog posts of like stuff where they're like discussing like maybe copyright material, books, or like whatever. So how does that work? You know, it's like, so it's like you could have a blog which basically regurgitates like some paid material source. You just reward it differently, and then that gets scraped by AI, and now that's in the database. It's like, and it's like, where's the line?
And again, like we were talking about with the Reddit stuff, like what is truth? You know, I have a blog hosted on WordPress, and I'm spouting off like super crazy conspiracy theories, and then ChatGPT is like talking about it like it's truth. You know, that
Right.
who is like taking charge of the like factualness of what's in the data set?
What's interesting, I don't know if you heard the drama between Gemini, like Google thing, like
Yeah.
their AI generate stuff. It's
Right.
so biased that when somebody asks to generate Nazis, it generate them like multicultured,
Right.
and it's
Well, they
so,
pulled
yeah,
it
it's
back.
like,
They're
what's
gonna, he
happening?
said they're working around the clock to fix it. So
Yeah.
I don't,
I was in
I don't know how
Seattle
that got past the red team. I mean, I just don't understand. Like,
Well,
did you
because we
try
know,
anything?
because, well, that's the thing, though. How many
Yeah.
things can you test for? Like, it's
Right.
it's almost infinite, right? There are infinite offensive things. like, you know, there really are. You think that one would be up there, but then you're like, there's 100 other things you could think of that are also equally as offensive. That how much time do you like red team test it? That's why this stuff comes out in public, and that's why we see it. And then they're relying on, guess who to test it?
Yeah, us.
We're testing it. In this week's hardware section, let's talk about Sarah's favorite laptop manufacturer, Lenovo. They demoed what they are calling a ThinkBook transparent display laptop. It's a prototype at this point, so doesn't have a real name, because we know Lenovo would come up with a better real name than that, like they did with
Would
that other
they,
one.
though?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think that might be the
I
name.
mean, I love Lenovo, but you know, ThinkPad Slim Pro 9i, you know, is not
Yeah, it's
cutting
catchy.
it. Yeah,
Catchy.
super catchy.
So this was shown at MWC in Barcelona, Spain this week. It is a 17.3-inch see-through micro LED screened laptop. And apparently the screen can go apparently from 55% transparency to fully opaque, although the demo apparently didn't do the fully opaque trick. So fully opaque meaning like it goes solid, right? So it looks like a regular laptop screen, essentially, but it can also be see-through. But the demo apparently didn't quite work that way. But that's kind of in there. Like, apparently it can, but it didn't. But, you know,
Still
whatever.
concept piece.
Still concept prototype, yeah.
These
The
windows don't
keyboard-
break, you know.
Exactly, yes, as Elon throws the ball.
Right.
The keyboard on this was interesting too. So it doesn't have an actual physical keyboard. It had a what is essentially a drawing tablet attached to it that then has, for the keyboard part, has a projected keyboard onto it, which is kind of interesting. So it projects from the top, like down to the screen, down onto the thing, and you know this is going to be a desired thing for some people, and some people are going to hate it, right? This is going to be like, because it's non-tactile, it's a flat surface touching on. It's going to be like your phone, I guess. It's just a screen ultimately.
They already have this bit, by the
Yes.
way. Like, yeah, this
Yes.
part, like the keyboard. And I've typed on it. It's a
How
little
was that?
awkward at first, but you get used to it actually really quickly.
Yeah. Well, I
And
think
does
it's
it
the
work?
same
Is it
the same
fast?
argument.
What?
Does it work? Is it fast? Could you
Yeah,
type
it
fast
worked
on
great. Yeah, I mean, because I can type like 80 words per minute or whatever, and I was like, fine.
Oh, we had the same arguments around phones, if you remember, when the iPhone came out. We went to like keyboard on a screen. We were like, well, no one's going to use that. It's terrible. And now there's no physical keyboard. So
I know, right?
I could see that. I could see that being a thing. I could see that people changing to that.
Yeah.
I could see that being a future thing. But it's a hard, like, you got to actually adjust to it. So that's a thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You like to say they already have it. It's really the screen in this thing that is
For sure.
that's the big selling point here. One of the limitations I saw, the screen's only 720p. Again, prototype, so maybe a future version can be better than that. But if they launched it with a 720p screen, that's going to kill it. That's just not going to fly. That's way too low resolution. Like I said, it is a prototype. No current plans for release at this point. Unlike the transparent TVs we saw at CES this year, which are coming out, this is just a concept. So, Sarah, what do you think? Why do we have this fascination with see-through screens?
Yeah.
And is there an actual use for them? Do we even want them? Or is it just that we want them because they look cool because we saw Minority Report?
Right. I was just going to say something about Minority Report. But like, you're not far off. I think, we watched Tony Stark do his Apple Vision Pro demo. And like, we kind of like that spatial computing. And I think this kind of gives us a little bit of that spatial computing feel without, having to wear big glasses or whatever. And so I think that's going to be part of the appeal. The one thing that I did read about, and like I said, I didn't get to see it in action. Someday I'll go to MWC, but is the ability to basically flip the screen around. So like I'm looking at the screen and I'm sitting across from somebody, I could push a button and now they're looking at what I was looking at. And I can see that being a really cool feature for, anything like, doctor's office, hey, sign this, and it just flips around and like you sign on the thing and then it flips back. Like, so I can see that, but that's not really utilizing the transparency of it. But
right.
The reason it's transparent is because it's got kind of like that glass on both sides. So I think I would see that more in a use case. The other thing that we saw, when I think it's kind of showing here too, but like with drawing, like you can see through it if you've got something over here that you're trying to draw. I'm not an artist, but my daughter is, and I could see that being super helpful as you're seeing through it. But the same kind of thing that I kept thinking when I was at CES, it's like, great, I've got this transparent TV that I'm going to mount on my wall. Like, yay, I can see my wall. That's fantastic.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I don't see like being transparent, being a super selling point, but the whole, the features that come along with the fact that it's transparent, I think is what's really going to set it apart.
Yeah, I think the form factor is wrong. I don't think this will ever work as a laptop. But like you were saying, at a doctor's office, you have a specialty screen that does something.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool that it's transparent. You can still see the person sit behind it. Retail displays, signage, those kind of things work really well.
Yeah.
If you have a driverless car, if we ever get to level 5 driverless cars and they can drive themselves, then you can turn a windshield into a screen.
Right.
But you could still see outside. I think all of those things it's kind of cool in that regard. But would I want to crack up in Visual Studio and code on a transparent laptop?
Yeah.
I think my eyes would be bleeding after an hour.
Yeah, and I agree with Bobby. It is the wrong form factor. Like for me, the first thing I thought of, it's either something that overlays over a mirror, so you have a smart mirror, or you can use it like your shower door. Like if you like consuming news in the shower or whatever, it's it's just a very convenient way.
Why
Oh, that's very niche.
Comes back to the shower, man.
Yeah,
Why are you
or-
taking all your gadgets into water?
Listen.
Everything.
Listen, if I could have my whole hat, I live in an apartment. If my apartment would have a hot tub with the glass wall where I consume my entertainment, that's all I need. I just like to have-
He's Kramer. Do you remember that episode where Kramer makes a whole
Yes.
salad in the shower?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, listen, when I was a little kid, this is going to be crazy, but when I was a little kid, my fantasy that I had was to live in a place where the whole room is like an Amazonian forest shower / bath thing. That's all like I used to think about. Like, how cool would it be? You walk in, you're in the forest, and it's like rain is your shower, and that's all I fantasize about.
One day, Paul, you'll get there.
One day I'll get there. Yes.
Yeah, to me, it seems like it's in the realm of like, for me, like foldable phones or 3D TV, like things that are going to be kind of short-lived while technically possible. Like, we don't actually really want them.
Right.
Like, we just, while we can make them, doesn't mean we actually have a use case for them or really want them on a mass level. I mean, like I said, this is cool. Would I want one? Sure, to be like, look at this, I got this cool laptop, like, you can see through it. But would I actually want to use it instead of having a fully opaque screen with a 4K on it? Like, no, that's going to win every single time, I think, rather than this.
And they made it a drawing tablet, which is like got to be like less than 1% of the market.
Well, because they thought that was like a use case for it, for an artist to be able to see through it. So they're like, well, let's make it drawing too. I do kind of like what Lenovo do, though. They kind of just throw a bunch of stuff out there and see what sticks, right? Yeah. Same thing with the tablet / laptop, right? Same thing, right? It's like, let's make it and see if anybody says, yeah, I like that. Otherwise, if nobody says that, you never hear about it again.
Yeah.
I feel like could be one of those things.
Yeah, like a long time ago, Lenovo had a phablet. Like I did a YouTube video on it too. And it was like the first, before like the Note came along, but it was huge. And then like they just never did anything with it.
Yeah, they're like, no one's going to make phone calls on this.
Yeah.
Like that's...
You think this could be a proof of concept for glasses, where like we could put a screen in glasses or something like that?
Yeah.
But 55 transparent on your glasses would be kind of dark though. I mean, like...
Yes, I agree. It's not fully transparent, which is the other thing too. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if we ever see this like as an actual product in this form factor. Again, maybe like you say, the keyboard's already a thing you can get on some of the laptops. The drawing tablet part, it's just the screen part is the new part. And maybe this isn't the form factor for this. Maybe we see it in more niche things. Right. In the future, we'll see.
Yeah, I would love Paul's to see the keyboard. Concept.
I'd love to see the keyboard in home entertainment when you walk up to your television and you can type the password in when you forget it for some of those apps. That'd be awesome.
I never want to type a password in again. I only want to do the QR code version.
I know.
I never want to do the password
ones that don't do it, and you're like trying to hit back and forward and up and down.
Yeah, ESPN.
Yeah.
All of my passwords are well over 20 characters. Yes. I hate typing in passwords.
So for my Roku, I actually threw the remote away and just used the app because you can pull the keyboard up.
Right.
And type on it. So if you're searching YouTube or whatever, you can.
Yeah. I got this at CES. The Roku dog toy.
Plushie Roku. Okay.
That's about what the remote's good for.
Exactly.
Let the dog chew on it. So the app's pretty good though.
Okay, let's move on to our null not null section then for this week. Sarah, you're up first. What you got?
All right. This is very important. I want everybody to pay attention to how important this is. This is about Girl Scout cookies. So I don't know if you're aware, but there are 2 bakeries for Girl Scout cookies. One is called Little Brownie Bakers. They are the, oh, dang it, the not null? Which one's the good one? I just...
Yes, the not null.
That's right.
It is confusing, isn't it? We all
I know it. It just like totally flew out of my head for a second. So, Little Brownie Bakers is the not null. ABC Bakery is the null. So, Little Brownie Bakers has Samoas.
Okay.
The other one has Caramel Delights. These are not the same cookies. So if
are they pitched as the same cookie though?
They are. So it's in different areas of the country. Depends on which bakery you get.
Wow.
Yeah, what do we have over here on the East Coast?
I don't know.
Probably the bad one.
Find out. If it says Samoas, then it's the good one. If it says Caramel Delights, it's the bad one. And I have done a side-by-side taste test. And
for science.
I'm telling you, this is very important. Very important. It's Girl Scout cookie season, and this is very important. So Samoas are the superior. they also, Little Brownie Bakers has tagalongs, which is like the peanut butter ones. In the ABC bakeries, they're called like peanut butter patties or something. Again, they do not taste the same. These are so much better. And here's the travesty. Here is my null. Utah just switched this year to the terrible one. And so my friend in Long Beach, whose daughter sells Girl Scout cookies, I know the Long Beach always has like the right ones. And I like messaged her right away. I was like, Therese, tell me you guys have Little Brownie Bakery because I need a ginormous order because I won't be able to get them in Utah.
You've now got to cross state lines to get the best Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah. So she shipped me my box of like my huge box of Girl Scout cookies.
So is Thin Mints made by every one of them?
It's called Thin Mints on both, but the Thin Mints from Little Brownie Bakeries are superior.
Wow. Okay. Because that's the only cookie that counts is Thin Mint.
It is. So I have a box of Thin Mints in here too. But with the Thin Mints from Little Brownie Bakery, they're round and like in a darker chocolate. And the ones from ABC Bakery, I know way too much about Girl Scout cookies.
You do know way too much about cookies.
It's a problem. I know. But they kind of have like ridges in the terrible brand. And the chocolate is a little lighter. And it doesn't taste.
I think if I gave you a blind taste test, you'd be able to tell, wouldn't you?
I absolutely would be able to tell. I believe we did that because my husband also, because they make like really crappy versions like that you can buy from like Keebler. That's
right.
The like Samoa like look-alike or whatever. And I think my husband bought like the Keebler ones, and we had the two different ones, and I did taste test. I could pick out the Samoas every time.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it, people. If you don't sell you don't get the good ones in your state, go cross state lines and
get the good ones. And so my brother lives in Orange County, and I think this was like last year, maybe it was the year before. I was visiting around like Girl Scout cookie time, and I saw like his cookies. I was like, why did you get these? And he's like, I don't know. That was what they were selling. So Orange County in California has the crappy version, and LA County, so Los Angeles County, where my friend lives in Long Beach, has the good version.
I wonder why that is. I wonder what you think. It's like the troop or whatever gets to choose where they purchase.
No,
them
it's the
from,
region.
maybe?
Girl Scouts of Utah. So everybody here in Utah, and this was the funny thing. So my friend in Utah posts like, "Hey, order Girl Scout cookies from my daughter," and I click on the link because I'm always like, I support the girls. That's what the whole thing is about, right?
Sure.
I'm just supporting the girls.
Sure.
I clicked to buy, and it was the wrong kind, and I literally messaged right away, "Hey, I thought we used Little Brownie Bakery in Utah." She's like, "They switched this year," and I'm like, "Oh." And so
cancel that order, please.
Exactly. It's obvious I don't support the girls because I did not order.
Well, you supported them in a different state, and that's totally fine.
That's what's important.
I think that's totally fine.
Yeah. Sorry about the rant, but it's very important.
Well, I could tell the difference of Thin Mints for sure, but I would just need 2 boxes to confirm.
Yeah. Right.
For a
I'll
real
go
comparison.
Yeah, if you want to send
you guys let me know
I'll let you
what
know.
you've got, and if you have the crappy version, I'll send you the good version. But I won't buy the crappy version, so you're gonna have to find those if you have the good version.
I will look that up. We'll definitely look that up. Okay, so I'm gonna go next. My I just have a null for this week, and my null is kind of food related too, actually. And my null is more of a concept that's actually coming to fruition, and it is AI-enabled variable pricing. Did you guys see the story about Wendy's?
Well, no, I saw a second article that said this isn't true from Wendy's.
Yeah, well, it's partially true.
Okay.
So it's partially true that they're saying that they're not going to have surge pricing. Because here's the story. They're saying that they're using AI to basically adjust the pricing of items on the menu. So when an item is in high demand, it will cost more. When an item is in low demand, it will cost less. That concept is still true. What they're not saying is, they're not saying that we're going to increase the prices when it's more in demand. They're saying we're going to decrease the prices when it's less in demand, which is ultimately the same thing. It doesn't matter which way you want to word this. It's the same thing.
So it's more expensive one time than the other. Okay.
Yeah,
great.
Exactly. So you can get it cheaper is what they're saying.
Sales, what they're saying.
Exactly. They're saying we'll put stuff on sale when it's not in demand. That's what they're saying ultimately. That's the way they're spinning it. But this sets a terrible precedence. When somewhere like Wendy's can have adjustable pricing, can you imagine going there and it's like, I want to get a burger from Wendy's. Do I need $8 or do I need $3? I have no idea till I show up and I order the menu and I look at the price and I'm like, oh, that's that price. This just like, it sets a precedence for everything to be this way. Why wouldn't it be when you go to the grocery store like, oh, we're nearly out of milk. Milk stock is low. Therefore, we're going to charge you $8 a gallon versus it being $4. It's like the precedence here is bad. This is a bad road we're leading down. And AI has enabled them to do this now because I'm guessing they probably would have always wanted this, right? Because if you think about like a grocery store, for example, while they don't do like stock demand pricing, they do pricing based on supply and demand, right? We've seen it with eggs recently, right? Eggs were a thing in the US. Last year, they shot up to like double the price because there was an issue with egg shortage, right? Some bird flu or something was affecting like the number of eggs that could be produced. So imagine they could do that real time though. Like all of a sudden the store only has 4 packs of eggs, so now eggs are $16. If you want one of those 4 packs, real time, they know inventory and like, oh, we can sell them more and somebody will actually buy them. This is a bad road. We do not want to go down this road as consumers.
Well, I want to tell you the scary version of this.
Let's hear
They
it.
say, we're going to give you the prices, scan this QR code.
Well, that's
And
also
then they'll
that's
tell
kind
you
of
what-
It'll
essentially
just
it is.
adjust
The
on
menu
the
for
fly.
Kevin is, they're like, oh, he has more disposable income. Like, that
Yeah,
burger's
right,
$12.
exactly. But what's
Maybe.
crazy about this is the crazy part. Instead of like trying to figure out how they could optimize like delivery using AI, how to figure out how to get food, like when is the best time to pick things, whatever, blah, 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 blah. They're doing right to the end.
Pricing.
The user is like, how can we get more money? Why don't you optimize your like chain like of deliveries and figure out how you could, get stuff delivered to stores in the program? And that's just so obnoxious.
I agree. This ultimately is just a way to make them more money. That's all it is. It's a way to just boost profits, and I get that kind of aspect. But to put all of that on the consumer and like imagine if this was at a grocery store, the fluctuation in prices would be insane. It would week to week. You wouldn't be able to budget. Budgets would go out the window.
But don't you think Amazon does that right now on the website? Haven't you seen where you log in and you get a different price, you log out and it's a different price?
No, I've not seen where you log in and log out. I've seen
Unless
where
you're business, like sometimes if you have a business
That's what I'm
Amazon
talking about.
account,
I have a business
it'll be-
account, a personal account, and I'll check them both, and they're always different prices. Same item.
Yeah, that's true.
But
That's a thing.
I mean, to me,
Why?
that's like, it's all crazy because then somebody will come up, like, because they did for Amazon. I think you share something like, Kevin, where it shows you the price that something is and how it's been trending. And so someone could come up with like a Chrome extension for Wendy's, like the best time to shop on Wendy's to get the cheapest food.
No doubt they will. It'll be a thing. It will be a thing. When's the best time to? It will be. But then it's like, how much time are you going to spend doing this? It's like when you go to the grocery store, we can go every day because on Tuesdays eggs are cheap, but on Wednesdays milk's cheaper.
That would
Like,
be terrible.
yes, it would.
That's what AI is for, though, man. You'll battle your AI, you'll battle it.
Right.
But what's crazy, most people, I'm not like saying everybody, but like somebody's gonna, you know what? It's not that bad. It's okay. It's fine. It's convenient for me to go to Wendy's, where some people like me, I'll be like, I'll just buy all my stuff at like Sam's on like once a week, and I'll
You
cook my
can't
food
get a
myself.
Dave's
You know what I mean?
double at Sam's. I mean, you can't do that.
Right.
Baconator, you can't get that anywhere but Wendy's.
We don't need those anyway. But yeah, this sets a precedent. So I made this my no for the week because I just didn't
it's
like
terrible.
the idea that this is something that, unfortunately, I think we see. I see us talking about this in a year's time, and it's going to be like, yeah, remember that Wendy's story that's kind of set that idea flowing? Now it's at every grocery store you go to, or every fast food restaurant's all dynamic pricing.
And like Bobby said, like it'll eventually take into account your disposable income, like your social score and everything.
Exactly.
And
You pay more.
eventually it's like, you know what? Like for me, I'll go in and I'll be like, Paul, you had already 2 Wendy's Baconators. You cannot have a third one. And I'll be like, what the hell? What are you talking about?
That's true,
Your
too.
insurance
Yeah.
is going to go up. Or they'll be funny. Like if they'll have like an opt-in. If you are going to have this third one, your insurance premium is going to go up like 10%. I'm like, God damn it, what am I doing? So you're going to buy, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be a legal market for Wendy's, like where you just have to meet some guy in the back parking lot, which is like, listen, this is legit.
Punch around
It's
Baconators.
unmarked. I will take 4, you know.
4 Baconators, please.
Or here's what I wonder: would like somebody's like, you know what? I'm gonna create Bendy's, and Bendy's is gonna just not have this system. You know what I mean? It's just like you just get a burger for what you ask for.
True. We'll still do
Capitalism,
square
baby.
burgers, but but there won't be any AI pricing.
So do you think
That's
some
so
algo
crazy.
trading desk will come out with, like
Here's
the
the
3-step
thing,
iron
though. Like,
butterfly
hold on
method to
a
get your
second.
burger?
Here's this other side of the coin. As a worker, can I be like, listen, this is in demand? I should get paid more right now.
That's
because
right.
we're
No.
of course
Come on,
not.
Paul.
Of
Yeah.
course not.
Come
It's
on.
only like, how can we get money, not how we could give
Yes.
you money.
This is
'Cause
only a
that
way
should
to
be like,
increase
hey, it's
profits.
a busy time. You should pay me more. Like I'm flipping more burgers today. No, see,
Right.
that's why it's a
No.
faulty system.
Paul,
Like, you
you're
could tell.
smart.
It's terrible.
Variable pricing on your salary. I don't
I'm
know.
actually gonna start that as my opening for my negotiation for my next job. I'd like to, like Wendy's. I'm implementing variable pricing. You know.
Variable salary.
If I have to wake up at 7, that's 40% more money that I have to get paid. If I show up at noon, I'm willing to work slightly below it. You know, it's like if I get to go home at 3, but if I have to stay past 3, it's 100%.
It goes up.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, slippery slope. We don't need to be going down. Okay, Bobby, what's yours this week? What you got
So I got a brand new camera for this thing we're seeing here. So
that we're looking at right now?
Yeah, the ZV-10. I'm off of a webcam now, so which is kind of cool.
Okay, so you've gone Sony.
Gone Sony. We're normally sponsored by Blackmagic. I'm just kidding, but like we own like 6 Blackmagic cameras. This is the small form factor when you want a webcam here. I'm in my office, so I don't want a big rig that you have to look at, and this seems to do pretty well. You know, full disclosure, Kevin helped me set it up. Got all the settings right. So it's
Good
working,
job, Kevin.
you know.
Pretty good too. Not ridiculously surprised. You got the kit lens, right?
The
16
kit
gig.
lens, I'm going to eventually get a better lens for it to even get a better a better look for it. But even out of the box, as long as you have it set up right, get exposure set, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
And $800, pretty good. Yeah, and Sarah has the same camera as you're seeing there.
All my YouTube videos are filmed on this bad boy.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, they're really good cameras. So they have better autofocus than what I have. Fortunately.
I don't
used
even
to
have autofocus
so
on mine.
here's my story. I used to have an amazing Sony camera, and at that time I used to have a girlfriend, and then we broke up, and she just never gave back the camera.
She took the
Oh.
camera in the divorce.
Ow.
She took the camera.
Ouch.
I know. And then she
That sucks.
moved, and I can't even get it back.
He's got to buy another one, Paul. Gotta get
I
another
know.
one.
I know.
Yeah, I like the form factor on these too. I like the screen flipping around. Mine has that too. I have an Olympus OMD 5 Mark II, and it has the same thing with the screen flips around, just so you can see a preview of yourself if you
I
are
love
like
that.
vlogging or whatever. It's cool.
I would
Yeah.
say if they're out there watching and you want to get one of these, make sure you get the continuous power for it, and use HDMI for your. Don't use USB. Number one, it goes down. It doesn't do 4K, but it also tries to power it as it's plugged in and overheats, and then it'll shut off during your streams or whatever. So you don't want the battery heating up. So just plug it in HDMI and then hit the continuous power adapter.
So did you have your power plugs in here?
Plugs in the
Or is it
bottom.
plugging
It's
in
got
the
one of
battery?
those false batteries.
Okay, yeah, in here, yeah,
Yeah.
which is what I have on mine too.
Right.
Yeah, you need the false. It's weird, isn't it? Because you plug in a false battery to actually make it work, versus this power version, which overheats these cameras a lot of times when you
Right.
have them on continuously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul, what you got this week?
I got a Null. Apparently, you should not buy electronics off Amazon for $50 or below.
Or at least
So
if
I
you
was
do,
like,
don't
I
bring
need
them in
to
the
get-
bath.
Yeah. I need to. I was like, my cats, like, they love playing with stuff, and I like. It'd be cool, like, if I could have a different theme of art on my wall. So I was like, I'm gonna buy a cheap projector so I could project like stuff for my cats to play, or have a different like scene, like stars or whatever. So I bought this. It's called Seabest. It should be called like Seaworst projector. The issue, I'm sure it's good, right? I'm sure it's good, but the 2 issues I have, it came missing the power supply, which you need to work with. And I was like, this is already terrible. And then I had a power supply that was similar. I plugged it in, and I'm like, the stupid light doesn't turn on that shines the picture on the wall. So I was like, that's kind of garbage. And I got it for $50. It's
Kind of
normally
important.
$100, but I had a sale. And here's the thing, like, now I have to go through the process of returning it. which means I have to do all the work. Like they're like, oh, you need to print this. I don't even have a printer. Like, how am I going to? Like, so I got to go to a place and pay money to print it. That's like $3 right there.
I got a tip for you on Amazon. Returning stuff on Amazon. There are places you can return it to. There are Kohl's and Staples. You can basically, when you return it, there's an option. You can say, I want to return it to Kohl's. And all you do is you just say, yes, I want to return it to Kohl's. They give you a QR code. You walk into Kohl's to their return desk and say, hey, here's my return. And you hand the item over.
You don't even need to put it in a box.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything. Yeah, no box, nothing.
All right, this is what I'm going to do because that's the best way and the only convenient way, because I'm not like $50 and it's a lot of money. But if it takes me 3 hours to return it, that kind of not worth. Yeah,
I agree.
Hurts.
Yep.
It's not worth it to me. I can tell you that. I'd throw it away. But
Right.
also,
Exactly. I was going to take it apart.
hot tip: I would never buy a
play with
projector for $50.
Exactly.
Either.
Right. Weird, Bobby. That's so weird that would fail.
So, Bobby, tell me, what's the most expensive projector you've ever bought? Because I know this is an outlandish, expensive projector.
I can tell you that I bought one, and when we did a Christmas show. I don't know if you were here when we did it.
Yeah, I
They
came in
were,
just after that.
$15,000 for a projector.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
It's a little bit more than 50.
And
they
it
were
was,
good though.
The lens was $5,000 for it because it had to be ultra short throw the way it worked.
Oh my
and
God.
it was a 16-foot wide projected image on a short throw, really, really short throw, like 8 feet or something like really short to get that big.
Yeah.
And it was a commercial Iki.
It was massive. I remember the size. It was massive. This thing was like, it took 2 people to carry it. It was genuinely that big.
Wow.
It was like, it needed its own crate. Like,
yeah, it had its own crate and its own mounting bracket that it went in. At the time, it was 8,000 lumens, which at the time was super bright. Now they're a lot brighter, but pretty much at the time, it was like something you'd see in a cinema or a theater.
How many years ago was this?
20, I forget the year was, 12 or something.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
2013 or whatever. It was a Pepper's Ghost show that we did here in Kernersville, and had 5 screens, 5 theaters that all did it.
Wow.
So
That's cool.
anyway,
It was cool. It was cool. Don't have said you can spend a lot of money on a projector.
yeah.
Just a little bit more than 50.
If anybody has recommendations, let me know. I mean, I want to not super expensive because I'm not going to use it to watch TV. I just want to throw images on my wall. And I saw some like portable laser projectors. I don't know if
lasers. Is cool.
Those
but
portable ones are good. I saw who make that. Somebody makes a projector that is. They actually have a couple of different versions that are battery powered too. They were like these little cubes. Looked like this form factor, but they were by. Oh, what company were they by?
I think I remember.
Oh, here you go.
I was looking at Nebula one.
Yeah, Nebula. Nebula, but they are very expensive. Yeah. Oh, Anchor makes one too. Look, Anchor. Yeah, the Anchor Nebula.
Anchor.
They make a couple of different versions. Yeah. Those seem to get pretty good reviews. I've not owned one, but I have thought about getting one for outside because you can throw a little screen up outside and you have like an outdoor theater watching, right? Because
you
they
never have to
Wi-Fi
replace
built
the
in.
lamp and a laser projector. So like that's why I would only buy
nice.
a laser projector from this day going forward.
Nice. Yeah.
Because I would never want to. You don't want to replace the lamp. It's just a pain.
I've had to do that.
Yeah, and they're expensive. The bulb is like half the price of the item.
Yeah.
And if they discontinue your bulb projector, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, but these things seem kind of cool. They seem to get good reviews. Look how small they are, too. It's like the size of a can of Coke or whatever. That's pretty tiny. Yeah, and they have these bigger ones too. There's another brand too that has like a square version. I can't remember what the brand is, but it's similar kind of form factor. But yeah, they're fully like battery powered too, which is great. They also have like built-in apps too, like your TV, smart TV. They have that in them too. So they have like Netflix already on them. You just have to have a Wi-Fi connection, which if you're out in the middle of nowhere too, you can hook up to your phone, right? Hook up to your phone data plan. You can just stream Wi-Fi on it. Like they're pretty cool.
Not super bright, but if you're in a dark room, it'll work really well.
Yeah.
720p.
Yeah, and they do better versions too that are in better resolution versions that are in smaller form factors as well. But you pay for it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But this is $400, Paul. This isn't like
Not 50?
50. So
Yeah, but to be honest, like here's the thing, like it sounds ludicrous, but at the same time, like, do you buy like 20 cheap ones because every time something happens, or you just find something along mid-range? Because it's 700, but it's not 15,000.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? So it's like,
that's it for this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast. Thank you for hanging out with us to the end here. A couple of things you could do for us. Let a friend know about the podcast. That would be amazing. You could leave us a review somewhere or a rating somewhere, wherever you listen to your podcast. Or you could also send us an email. Where can they send us an email to, Sarah?
The Not Null Podcast at AOL.com.
That's it. We are forwardthinking at AOL.com. We will catch everybody next week.